Hello again, and welcome to Marketing Cafe Live. We're here again talking about marketing, giving content for entrepreneurs, and we're so glad that you've joined us. Today, we're talking about something really powerful, really important for a lot of people. It's LinkedIn. And we all know LinkedIn is supposedly the business person's social media where everyone's serious and connecting and building audiences together. But for a lot of people, they wonder, well, how does it really work and how can I make it effective? And I post things and no one likes them and no one engages. Well, today we are going to be talking with someone who's going to help us get the answers to those questions. And from this day forward, you will be someone who really enjoys LinkedIn and sees it to powerful effect for your business. So let me go ahead and introduce our LinkedIn coach, Hamad. Hamad is a wonderful human being. He's a global individual from all over the world, all different aspects. And he's in his second year now of doing his business where he's a LinkedIn coach for individuals. Hamad, welcome to Marketing Cafe Live.
Thank you very much, Michael. What a pleasure it is to join in this broadcast.
Well, we're going to talk about a lot of things. And first off, I'm Michael K. Reynolds, and I've owned a marketing agency now for 24 years called Global Studio. You can check it out there. And if you enjoy, which I'm sure you're going to enjoy, what's being shared by Hamad, make sure you go check into LinkedInimpact.com as well. And since we're talking about LinkedIn, my LinkedIn handle is author Michael K. Reynolds. And Hamad's got a very simple one, Hamad Coach. But again, uh, Hamad, before we get into the content that we're sharing right now, after people hear what you have to share, I'm sure they're going to be really motivated to, gosh, I got to follow up with Hamad. He's really bright and brilliant. And I wonder how he can help me. Tell us a little bit about how you help others through your business.
Michael, in a very simple word, I'm a LinkedIn coach. So I learn and I coach people. I have a consulting business based in Canada. I work with individuals, build their profiles, optimize their profiles, as well as companies and corporates. I have online courses that people can take, and I have an executive coaching program as well.
All right, excellent. So, speaking of online courses, you can go to marketingcafe.club, learn about all about the Marketing Cafe. We're on Clubhouse, we're on Facebook, we're on all websites. Check that out. And this program, if at any time you're coming into this and you're only catching part of it, it'll all be up in the Marketing Cafe Academy. And again, if you go to marketingcafe.club, the Marketing Cafe Academy has all kinds of training videos. It's totally free. So sign up for that right now. All right, well, let's get into our content today, growth strategies for LinkedIn. And, I think for a lot of people, I remember LinkedIn was pretty much the first social media that I ever got involved with very early on. And I remember someone sent me a note saying, hey, join my network. And I thought, okay, whatever. But what's really interesting is that the second person that connected with me many years later, like 20 years later, I ended up going back and connecting with him, hadn't chatted with him for a long time, and he ended up being a very large client. So it definitely works. But you see some people who seem to be really thriving on LinkedIn. They're getting jobs, they're getting leads, they're getting engagement in their content. And then there's a very large portion of people who kind of post things, and it's almost like throwing a rock in. I'm close to Lake Tahoe. It's like throwing a rock into Lake Tahoe and not getting any wrinkles. So before we get into the content, just introduce why you think LinkedIn is so powerful.
Uh, I mean, as you rightly said, this is the only professional platform on earth. This is exactly how I treat it. People go on other social media platforms. That's okay, but where you can actually connect people professionally, learn from them, or maybe work from for them, or get an opportunity to find someone who could work for you, become an influencer and monetize it very quickly. That is LinkedIn. And the issue here is that because a lot of people treat still LinkedIn as a job site, which it is not. I call it as an opportunity site, a platform where you actually should look at opportunities in much broader perspective rather than just keeping it to a very narrow perspective, which is job search. uh, they really can't capitalize on those opportunities because their focus is so narrow. Job search. Anybody who is on LinkedIn is building it up strategically and exactly knows what his or her why is on LinkedIn. Why am I on LinkedIn is really an important question to answer, to develop a strategy. And once you have that strategy, you actually build it up. It looks boring initially, but I've got clients who came to me and they are now addicted to LinkedIn. And I tell them, okay, you can still spend like your 24 hours sitting on LinkedIn, but how do you productively use it? It's more important than being out there and be seen 24 hours a day. So if you have a strategy, if you know your why, if you know exactly you're either looking for opportunities or offering opportunities, then your journey on LinkedIn will be more exciting.
So why is it that you think that LinkedIn is underrated? I mean, we hear about all the other platforms, TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and some people say, "Oh, LinkedIn, yeah." Why do you think it has that reputation?
So I actually love this analogy, Michael. So if you have a Ferrari, you spend like millions of dollars in buying the top most like variant of Ferrari, but you don't really know how to drive it, right? And you don't put the right fuel in it, and if it's winter, you don't put winter tires in it. Would you actually be uh, able to enjoy the ride? You won't, because you don't really know how to use it. And that's one of the reasons people create their profiles without a strategy. They are there, they're struggling, they're kind of trying to figure out how it works, how it doesn't work, what are some of the things they should do, they shouldn't do. And that struggle actually is kind of put them off. And things are changing. Like 6 years ago, when Microsoft took over LinkedIn, they started kind of bringing in a lot of interesting changes. If people are not part of that evolution process, they created their profile 10 years ago, they won't see those changes, right? Because they're not there, you're not there, you're more on TikTok or Facebook of this world. Particularly for in professionals, right? If people don't see you, if people can't find your profiles, if you are not putting out content that you should really be putting out as professional, then of course you won't get traction. When you don't get traction, you won't like that platform.
Yeah, it's like anything else. And I like your analogy of the Ferrari, but it's a tool, and a tool has to be used, and it has to be used properly. For instance, for most people, a hammer is a tool. In my hand, it's a liability because I'm not a skilled craftsperson. But LinkedIn is something, and the thing that is amazing about LinkedIn is you really have direct connections with key people, with the business owners, with key executives, and there's an understanding that this is about business. It's really interesting in my Facebook profile. I mean, I could post a picture about a goldfish and I'll get 500 engagements. I do something about my business, and it's like, oh, you can't talk about your business on your personal Facebook. And so this understanding with LinkedIn that we are here to do business. But that being said, it's a tool. And one of the most important aspects of LinkedIn is if you're going to participate, you're going to be creating content so that people who don't know you at all can start to get familiar with you, get some taste of who you are, what you're expert at. But a lot of people struggle with content. Talk to us about overcoming those content struggles.
Yeah, so again, we let's go back to my why, your why are we out there? We are out there so that people should start recognizing us as a subject matter expert, a thought leader, whatever way you want to portray yourself. But ultimately, it's the trust that brings people back, help them connect with you, or at least follow you, and eventually give you some business, or engage you onto an assignment. So that means that content is really important, because that's how you will present yourself out there. And then again, content could be anything like a quote from someone, your own quote, text content, image content, recognizing someone, or your video. I mean, it's your choice what you want to do. The struggle comes is the first question I usually get: who is going to see my content? And this is such a big misconception. People are going on LinkedIn or any other social media platform for that matter, and they are actually looking at content. It's all content. Music is content. Our conversation is content, right? If you can actually articulate your content, which is targeting towards helping someone, if you're sharing your lesson that would help someone, if you're sharing your story that could actually inspire someone, you will see people start looking at your content. So instead of just being random and struggling with it, start putting out content, and you will see the marked difference. LinkedIn's own data suggests that there are only 1% people, 1% LinkedIn users who produce original content for LinkedIn.
Wow.
Now think about it. If you are amongst those 1%, you will beat your competition like that, right? Because there is hardly any competition. 99% people are not producing content. So struggle, of course, the first struggle is, what do I put out? I would suggest just be natural, right? Just share the natural stuff. Like yesterday, I had a little assignment with a company that produces packaging machinery. I went there. I ran a training program for them. There were like 25 sales professionals in the room. Their sales, the head guy in the sales, he really liked. I'm sure others liked it too. He came to me, said, "Can I take a picture with you?" Yes, why not? He took a picture with me. He posted that picture on his profile. Now that's kind of a mileage for me, but I used the same picture. So I just did a clip. I just took a screenshot of the picture. I posted a picture thanking him for his generosity of putting the picture off. That's content, right? It was so simple. And so you don't have to struggle. You just have to be a little bit more strategic in what you put out, and you will see people will like it. People will like it. They will probably comment on your post also, and that will give you a boost uh, onto the algorithm.
Yeah, so the content is so important, and again, as you mentioned, a lot of people kind of struggle. What am I going to say? Is it going to be interesting? And there's photographs that you can post, and a very natural way. People say, I think a lot of people have the perspective of social media where they think it's this kind of Instagram type of I'm trying to be some kind of influencer. I'm going to be the next Kardashian, and I don't like any of that, and I don't like talking about myself as much. But if you're in business, and if you have a service, or if you have products that you wholeheartedly believe in and you think can make a difference in the world, then it's really your duty to let people know, hey, this is a way that I can help you. And so there's a lot of ways that you can share content without bragging or boasting. And part of it is just, hey, this is what we worked on today. This was something that was a challenge. This was a solution. And then also, you mentioned at the beginning when we were chatting, is that help people with solutions. Talk a little bit about people coming in thinking that, oh, I'm just going to be bragging about myself. It's actually not that if it's done right.
Absolutely. And also, Michael, if we draw a pyramid, and I love this analogy also. If we draw a pyramid, and this is the ecosystem we have on LinkedIn, the biggest pool of people at the bottom are the seekers. People who are looking for information, people who are looking for jobs, people are looking for opportunities. So if you are in that pool of seekers, then of course, it will be difficult for anyone to spot you, because there's so many people out there who are seeking. But as soon as you start giving, which means by way of content, by way of sharing this nice stuff that we all do as content creators, we will actually reach to the top 1% very quickly. And once you're at the top, you will be spotted. And when I do things, I often talk about myself. That's fine to me,
Yeah.
but I try to help people think through, and that's what thought leaders should do. As a thought leader or subject matter expert, pick a topic. Like I did a video the other day about sunset. So I was just walking and the sunset was beautiful. I did a short video, like a minute video, and about sunset, and you said it actually gives me a lot of energy. Sunrise gives you energy, but sunset also gives you a lot of energy because
Hmm.
now you're looking at hope. And that video actually went decently viral. So you don't have to really talk about yourself or your project all the time, but keep helping, as you rightly said. What is one thing you can help people with?
And I think with social media in general, especially if you're using it kind of as a way to support your business and you're using it strategically, is trying to keep on topic, trying to keep on the general theme. So people like variety; they like hearing about a lot of things. I love how you're sharing about a sunrise and a sunset, and then tying it into really, hope and those kinds of things is really powerful. But this all links into the other mistake that people make is I'm just going to try to get as many likes as shares as possible, and they start drifting into, well, let me do the dancing goldfish photo. All right, you still with us?
Yeah, yeah. So I have got
Speaking
a
that that dancing goldfish you got really excited about, so I know what to post. But the problem is that it's not connected. You actually can do a dancing goldfish if you can connect it to your business objectives. And this all ties into another really important with growth strategies is building a targeted network. Now, you shared with me that you're on the cusp of really a great accomplishment, getting close to 50,000 followers on LinkedIn. That's no easy task to gain that. Talk a little bit about, people want to know, how do I gain followers naturally, and then also how important it is that they're the right followers, that it's really a targeted network.
right. So again, a great question, Michael. See, the thing is that we have to be relevant and we have to be targeted. As simple as that throughout our lives. If we are not relevant, then we are not relevant. People would not interest us. So relevance means what? Relevance means that if I am on social media marketing, for instance, and I've got a lot of lawyers or accountants who are technically not relevant to me, am I actually building the right network? Or if I'm an accountant network, is it relevant? So what we are trying to do here is, when we talk about targeted network, we are actually helping LinkedIn's algorithm to understand what we do, so that out of 810 million people on LinkedIn's algorithm starts showing us content and people who are relevant to us. And that's how gradually you will start looking at more right people to connect. LinkedIn really helps you because it shows you a list of people you should be able to connect. But if those people are not relevant, of course, that doesn't work. And this is one of the key things that we miss on as LinkedIn users, as to how do you build a targeted network. Like my own story is, I am a LinkedIn coach and LinkedIn consultant. For me, everyone on LinkedIn is my potential client, all these 810 million people. So that means that when I started building my network up, for me, everyone that was well, at least sending me an invite, I would see the profile and I would accept it. So one piece is my first degree connections, which you can go up to 30,000 maximum on LinkedIn. I've got 27,000 already. So I've reached to a point where I'm actually not connecting. I'm actually removing connections. Anyone
Hmm.
who is like inactive, I once in a week I sit down, I actually remove 100, 200 connections. I want to build more active connections, because more active connections, more strong profiles will add value to my profile. Very simple. Now followers are the people who can actually just who are not your connections, who are not your first degree connections. They are simply following you to learn from you, and some of them reach out to you for some business, or maybe there are some questions that they ask, but I would always want to respond to them if they email me. So that's kind of a major difference between connections and followers. I'm also a fan of terminology that I learned in 1984 called GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. So if we have a lot of garbage in our network, the resultant factor will be garbage too, which means that we will not actually get what we want to get out of it. So targeted network is really important. Now, on LinkedIn, there's so many tools that can help you build your targeted network. And often people don't use those tools. So one of the tools that we are using today is this live session that we are doing. Anybody joining in the live session from your network, from my network, could potentially bring in, just one valuable network member to me or to you. This is a tool that people often don't use. Then the group, uh, and also page features. There's so many things that people can do. A newsletter, for instance, I use my newsletter, and my newsletter has now 24,000, around 24,000 subscribers. And you know the value of subscribers, Michael. They could be
Sure.
random viewers, and they could be because subscribers are your loyal readers. My newsletter goes into their in mails once in every 2 weeks, and 25-30% people actually open it up and read it, which means that I'm influencing their thoughts somehow, helping
Yeah.
them with something,
It's a
or
good,
maybe selling
good,
my
good
services.
open rate.
Yeah. So 30% is really good open rate. So your targeted network you can build if you know exactly how you want to target people. I was coaching a group of emerging technology students just before jumping here onto this call, and for them, there were data science, there was cybersecurity, and there were DevOps. These were the three things that really they wanted to focus. And we start looking at professionals in that sector. There are millions. There are millions globally, and they are potential contacts. So you need to find those contacts. If you have a smaller network, connect with them. If you have grown your network to a sizable audience, then people will start connecting with you, and this should be your aim. People should start connecting with you.
So you mentioned your list that you have for your email. Did you say it was about 20,000?
It's close to 24,000
Okay,
subscribers.
which is a very large targeted list that you have. And for a lot of people, it's really important that you own the real estate. We don't own LinkedIn, we don't own Facebook, we don't own Instagram. They can change the rules. I'm big on Twitter. I don't own Twitter.
Yeah.
And so it's really key to get those into your ownership. And ownership is by having them on your list, that if you got email address, that you have some control of direct access. As we know, the same thing with email. There's all kinds of challenges with delivery rate, going into junk boxes, a lot of that changing. But you're much more in ownership if you actually have a list. Talk a little bit about how you took your LinkedIn following. What were the strategies you used to actually get email addresses and to build that list?
Right. So, I mean, what I often do is to offer a free webinar um, about LinkedIn, and anything you want to speak about or ask about LinkedIn, and I share a Google Doc with them, a link to the Google Doc, and I make it exclusive. So scarcity is the key here. Just because you will only have 50 people coming into the webinar. I mean, I get easily 200 to 300 people signing up, and I invite everyone. And usually 25-30% people show up, which actually makes up the target that I have. And I share everything that I know about LinkedIn, like in that 1 hour session, and that actually helps me build my targeted email list, as well as create more direct one-on-one relationship with these potential customers. Believe me, all my online courses that I'm selling, most of these courses are bought by people who have been to my webinars 3-4 months ago, and I don't do any marketing of these courses. I just like occasionally put things on, like get a discount or stuff. There's a code, and people would just go and buy those courses. But what next is more important, right? I would think is to continuously stay engaged with those who have bought your courses,
Hmm.
because then they will become your spokesperson. So what I have created, and this is something that I would suggest other marketers to do also. Okay, somebody has bought my course, done the course. For me, the revenue stream is just like that was the revenue stream that would come to me. But once I start treating that as an asset, that one individual, that will turn the thinking process. So what I do is I offer them, anybody who has done the course wants to join in my mastermind group or my LinkedIn group for free, let me know. So I'm actually creating another option for them to come and join in. Not everybody would join in, but whoever joins in will get an opportunity to excel because I'm going to teach them in the group. They're like my exclusive group. They speak to me. So Seth Godin, famous Seth Godin, I'm creating these idea sneezers who would go and sneeze those ideas about how they're doing on LinkedIn, good or bad or whatever. They all are doing good, by the way. So this is the chain that I'm creating. Building it up, then doing whatever sales or more engagement, and then actually keeping engaged with them so that they continue talking about me.
So this brings us to the last part because a lot of people will say, okay, you're doing a lot of content, you're building the network. You've already talked a little bit about you're building your list, which is great, and that you have a course that you're able to sell. So you've already kind of entered in this a little bit. But what people really want to know is, okay, it sounds great. It does sound like a lot of work. And let's be honest, it is a little bit at a time, patience, sticking with it. Consistency is really key. You don't go cram on LinkedIn for 3 weeks and go, why aren't I getting results? You have to be really consistent and build things over time. But people want to know, can you really generate qualified leads? And how does that work with the whole process and system that you have?
So, just one very quick one, Michael here. HubSpot actually did a study recently, and they found out that visit to lead ratio for B2B business, LinkedIn has got the best visit to lead ratio
Nice,
in
nice.
B2B. Now, that's of course HubSpot saying it, so it's not Hamad Siddiqui saying it. Which means what? Which and of course Gary Vee last year, I remember, I think it was January somewhere, he was in a conference and said, LinkedIn is Facebook of 2012, which means 10 years ago, Facebook was like LinkedIn and Facebook was giving you visibility. LinkedIn is giving you visibility now. So use that as an opportunity. More visible you are, more leads you will generate. As simple as that. Which means using LinkedIn holistically means technically using all the features that are out there, and building your trust and reputation as somebody who can offer that service is the key to success in generating leads. LinkedIn has another tool which is called LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is a paid tool. So a lot of people use Sales Navigator to find those leads. I don't use Sales Navigator, and I don't have a LinkedIn Premium account. I have a simple free
You
LinkedIn
don't
account.
have a premium account.
I don't have a premium account, and still I am generating leads. I'm still doing my webinars, my courses. So I mean, what I wanted to say is that it's all doable if you have a strategy. The strategy is to build your trust and credibility in the marketplace. LinkedIn also has a service page, so you can actually create a service page, and service page brings in, I'm not very active there, but that service page brings me one or two leads every now and then, and I'm good with it. When I was doing that webinar, that training session I just spoke about, and I went live with them, showing them my LinkedIn, and in that period of time, it was like midday yesterday, and I was doing that webinar, and in that period I had four leads sitting in my inbox, four leads.
Nice.
So what I want to say is that it's all doable. You have to be consistent, and you exactly need to know what you want to do. When I say I'm a LinkedIn consultant and coach, I exactly know what my product is. So the product of productization, your pricing, what are you offering, will lead to successful leads. So even if you have leads and you are not successful in closing, like what is the point?
Right.
You need to generate leads by building that trust, and selling also, and selling in a very subtle way. You don't say, I mean, I sometimes do that as experiment, but you don't say that buy from me. You create that inquisitiveness, you create that, because
Yeah.
people are looking for services, people are looking to know if they can do better on a platform. This is exactly what we do on Clubhouse. We help people on Clubhouse understand how they can do marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing about LinkedIn, which I think is great, is it's a networking tool, but it's really ultimate marketing and sales tool. And depending on what your strengths are, you can use LinkedIn differently. For instance, if you're someone who's, hey, look, I'm just really good at sales. I'm not a marketing person where I'm going to design all these great images and videos and all that other stuff, but I'm good at one-on-one interactions. Then you have tools like Sales Navigator, which does allow you to research individuals that are prospects for you. And you literally have very few other ways to reach them directly, but you're able to send them a direct note. You're able to share something with them that will be some content or some help, and to open up. And some people really thrive with Sales Navigator, which is much more of a direct sales approach. Whereas LinkedIn is also a tool if you're more on kind of the marketing branding strategy. And I don't really want to go into people's inboxes and that kind of thing. But what I'll do is I'll create interest and attraction, using the law of attraction. So it can be used in both ways. And again, probably the best thing about LinkedIn is you're not going to get, hammered with politics. You're not going to get hammered with all kinds of, pictures and things of the day. And those kind of people are really, there's a professional type of business type of environment. And unlike other platforms where it's really difficult to, to mention anything about your business without, well, I'm here for Dancing Goldfish. Why are you talking about business? People expect you to talk about business, and they're actually much more important. They're interested in business and they're interested in solutions. They're fascinated with it. It's their hobby. It's what they do. And so you will have two whole different types. And that's why you have to be aware, when you're looking at building your targeted audience. You do have people that are just showing up every once in a while to find a job. And that's, if you're a business person doing services, unless your services is helping people find jobs or connecting people with them, then that's perfect. But for a lot of businesses, that's not your ideal one. It's the people that are within your industry and of interest, and also have a level of activity in LinkedIn. Because let's be honest, a lot of people create a LinkedIn profile and they do not come back for a year. And so you will find that there's some people that they're just not as easy to interact with because they're not that engaged with LinkedIn. But there are a lot of people that love business and loved LinkedIn and are engaged in there. And as you said, I thought was really striking. 99% of the people on LinkedIn aren't creating content. If you're a content provider and if you're a quality content provider, then you can succeed. Any last thoughts about growth strategies for LinkedIn?
Build conversations, because conversations build trust. Um, some people who are a bit shy of creating content, for them, my tip is to go and be part of those communities where conversations are happening. Once you start building those conversations, you talk to people, which means if somebody's commenting, you go and comment and share your thoughts. You are actually helping yourself build confidence and build relationship and build a network that can help you grow on LinkedIn.
Excellent. All right. So I'm sure you've enjoyed this, and I'm sure that that basically we've got just the tip of the iceberg with Hamad. I can tell you, he's a wonderful human being. He's great to work with one-on-one. So I'd encourage you, reach out to him at linkedinimpact.com and to learn more about him. I think that you will be warmly rewarded by that. Not to mention, he's just a worldly, global, super experienced individual and a great person to meet. Hamad, so thank you so much for being part of this. And here's the great news, folks. If you missed any of this and you want to see this, it's going to be available. It is available on the Marketing Cafe Academy. The Marketing Cafe Academy is part of the Marketing Cafe. And the way that you get there is you go to marketingcafe.club, and you'll see there's a link to be able to sign up. It's totally free. We've got hours and hours and hours of good, rich content on all different elements of marketing and entrepreneurship. So make sure that you are part of the Marketing Cafe Academy. Hamad, thank you so much for joining us, and you will be returning.
Thank you very much.
That I know for sure.
Definitely.
Okay, so that's our episode here at Marketing Cafe Live and talking about LinkedIn. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll have lots more of these coming. And so we'll look forward to seeing you next time here in Marketing Cafe Live. Thanks for joining.